Good day. I'm Dhirishka and I'm a senior adjudicator at the National Financial Ombudsman within the banking division. As part of our financial literacy campaign, we are going to share with you some insightful information on current trends within the digital banking fraud space and hopefully suggest some tips that will safeguard you and your funds from digital banking fraud. Based on the complaints that we receive at our office, we see consumers falling victim to digital banking fraud on a number of trends. Some of these trends involve social engineering, what we call Facebook marketplace scams, and change of banking detail scams. Social engineering can be done via vishing, phishing, or smishing. There are different ways that fraudsters try to lure consumers into divulging their confidential information. One of the most common forms of social engineering is what we call vishing. Vishing involves a consumer receiving a call from someone who pretends to be from a legitimate company and most often pretends to be a caller from the bank. They create a sense of panic in the consumer, informing the consumer that their funds are at risk or there are unlawful debit orders going off of their account. The consumer in a panic state then ends up divulging confidential banking information to the caller. In some instances, fraudsters and scammers have become so sophisticated that we see consumers following the instructions of these callers and step by step on their banking app performing the transactions out of their account by themselves. Consumers don't understand at that time that they are falling victim to fraud because fraudsters have become so good in convincing you that they are legitimate callers. In actual fact, in these instances, what's best for you to do is to pause and remember that your bank will never ask you to disclose your confidential banking information, such as your PINs, passwords, usernames, or OTPs. If you ever receive a call from someone who says they're from a bank or from any other legitimate company, trying to create a sense of panic and telling you that your funds are at risk, we suggest that you rather end that call immediately and call your bank straight away. Your bank will assist you to place a hold on your funds or on your profile to prevent any fraudulent transactions from occurring. Another type of scam that we see coming through in our complaints is what we refer to as change of banking details scam. What happens in these instances is a consumer usually expects an invoice to come through from a third party who they have legitimately contracted with. However, somehow, fraudsters are able to intercept these emails and they change the banking details on the invoices to reflect fraudulent account details. The consumer, unaware, opens the email, reads the invoice, and makes the payment to the account details that reflect therein. In actual fact, the consumer has paid a fraudulent account. We suggest that you pay very close attention to the email address from which you receive any banking details. These email addresses slightly differ from the original email address, so pay close attention for any deviations. We also suggest and highly recommend that before making any payment to a third party, that you make a call to the intended recipient and verify the account details that you have received to ensure that when you make the payment to the correct account. Lastly, we see a lot of scams involving what we call Facebook marketplace scams. This involves the consumer intending to purchase a product advertised online. The consumer makes the purchase and makes the payment to the intended recipient, only to never hear again from this intended recipient. The funds are then transferred and are completely gone. The consumer cannot get a hold of the seller and they have now suffered a loss and the goods are never delivered. In another instance, the consumer may be the one trying to sell products online. Before funds are received into the consumer's account, they release the goods to the intended buyer. However, once the goods are released, the funds are never received into the consumer's account. In instances like this, we suggest that before you release any goods that you intend to sell online, contact your bank and make sure that the funds have in fact cleared. If you are the one making the purchase, it is suggested that you do proper and thorough research of the transaction that you are concluding. Make sure that the person you are contracting with is legitimate and that the transaction itself is a valid transaction. This will prevent you from suffering loss. I'll now share with you some valuable tips on how you can hopefully safeguard yourself and your funds from scams. Firstly, never disclose your confidential banking information. If you receive a call from someone who supposedly is from the bank, end that call immediately. Remember, your bank will never ask you for your PIN, password, username, or OTPs. Make sure that you are registered to receive notifications from your bank about transactions that are happening on your account or banking profile. If you receive these notifications, make sure that you read them carefully. Don't rush to approve any transaction before you understand the contents of exactly what you are approving. Our cell phones have become our most valuable possessions. Make sure that your device is secure. Set passwords or biometric logins on your device. In the event that your device is lost or stolen, immediately contact your bank so that your bank can block your banking profile. Lastly, stay connected to trusted sources like the National Financial Ombudsman. We often share valuable information on trends and tips on our website and our social media pages. This way, you can stay informed on what's currently happening in the digital banking space. We hope that this short video was insightful and valuable to you and will help you to make better and wiser banking decisions.